Hi guys. Okay, today we're going to do a story called Elena, Beauty and the Beast. Okay, this is a story. This lady actually contacted me, sent me an email, and I've read through some of it and it sounds very interesting and draws many parallels with other people's story. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to read it here and now. Here we go. My HOCD story by Elena. My name is Elena. I'm 21 years old and I've suffered from anxiety and OCD for quite some time now. But HOCD is the most painful and traumatic thing I've ever experienced, and I still suffer from it. I can clearly see now that I have suffered from anxiety and worrying and some intrusive thoughts that did get stuck on past memories, but I didn't understand exactly what was going on. I think a buddy of mine, Billy, I think he suffered with stuff for a long time before he even realized what was going on. And incidentally, it was the same for me. I had that big breakdown in 2004, but I'd suffered with intrusive thoughts and magical thinking even before then. It just wasn't that bad. But you'd be surprised, this stuff creeps up on you. Anyway, for example, I had incest sexual thoughts about my dad, mom, brother, POCD thoughts, fear of suicide, fear of Ebola spreading, that fall in line with my first major theme, health OCD, in 2018. But I always felt that I was responsible for my thoughts, that I was a nasty, horrible person for thinking about these things. You know, for somebody so young, for them to beat themselves up so badly, just because you have these thoughts does make you a bad person. These thoughts are not in your control. It's okay. I have always been interested in boys since I was young. But along the way, I have kissed and made out with girls. Fair enough. But for me, it was just innocent fun. I've had many boyfriends since primary school and I loved it. Before this theme, I could look at girls and say they were pretty and hot, but all these memories from the past are now proof for my OCD that my fears... Right, let me read that again. But all these memories from the past are now proof for my OCD that my fears are true, and sometimes that makes me hate myself. Well, from what I can discern there, what she's basically saying is that, and I may have be reading this wrong, but it seems to me that she's taking the intrusive thoughts as perhaps truth, and look back in the past and analyze things and stuff. It has always been boys, and it felt great. But now OCD makes me doubt that too. I've had 2 serious relationships with 2 guys, and now I'm in my 3rd, even when I'm suffering with HOCD and ROCD. I can see that over the years my anxiety and worrying have become stronger, and my confidence has decreased, creating a lot of perfectionism in me. This is an intelligent girl. This girl isn't stupid. She looked at things and she can see. And she can see the perfectionism in herself. And perfectionism is something I've always preached about. I have experienced so many bad and complicated relationships that never worked out that I started to question, is there something wrong with me? I can now see that I always questioned what I did wrong. Was there a flaw in my personality or appearance? I came to the understanding that I just wanted someone to love me for who I am and to be in a healthy relationship. Now that I've found my dream guy who loves me for who I am, HOCD and ROCD have manifested in full force. Well, do you know, that fucking pisses me off. Because, again, just like Maria, this girl is very, very attractive. And she's been through hell. And the fucking minute she finds the dream guy, the guy that she wants to be with, bam, this shit hits her. It's really sad and it's heartbreaking. And before any of you politically correct guys out there, you know, the hanging jowls and the comb overs start saying, Jesse, it's wrong. It's wrong for you to say somebody's good looking. You know, absolutely reprehensible behaviour. Fuck you, fuck you. Do you know why I'm saying this girl is good looking? Because she is. That's exactly what she is. And it amazes me that when, and this seems to be a common thread, when guys see good looking girls, they automatically think that they've got these perfect lives. The guys are falling all over them. They become intimidated by these good-looking women. But very often, you know, we just don't know what goes on in a person's life. And this girl, you know, and I don't want to keep saying it, and I don't want to keep reiterating it, but she's well above average. And it just amazes me, you know, that, you know, she's suffered so much and she has such a low opinion of herself. It's really heartbreaking. Anyway, in October, I observed that I was suffering from anxiety and a lot of intrusive thoughts racing through my mind. But I didn't notice it because I was in the honeymoon phase. I was occupied and my attention was solely focused on the loving the attention from my boyfriend and the happiness I felt because of this. Yeah, it's basically she was really into her boyfriend and obviously still is, and she had a lot of love of this guy and she was just focused on that. One night I woke up in a panic with a question in my head, what if I'm a lesbian? Strange, I've heard this before about people just waking up and just a thought coming to them. It's incredible. The next day I was shaking and my anxiety was so strong. The thoughts were racing and I didn't understand what was happening to me. I remember I was on my way to work and I was crying and panicking because how could I suddenly be a lesbian when I was going to enter a serious relationship? Do you know, that almost sounds to me like some people on a deeply subconscious level, when they feel they don't deserve happiness, when they're internally beating themselves up and they might not even be aware of it, it's like as if a block comes down, like they just get blocked. It's as if they don't feel they don't deserve happiness, so something in them shuts it all down to protect them, so to speak. I wonder if that's what's happened with this lady. At work, I was constantly Googling about how to know if you are gay. Can you turn gay overnight? And read a lot of forums. But then I thought, no, this isn't right. Something is wrong. After many days with a lot of anxiety and intrusive thoughts, I discovered articles on HOCD and felt such relief that I realized, yes, I'm not a lesbian. This is going to end. But I was wrong. The thoughts and doubts continued, and I thought, what if this isn't OCD and I am actually a lesbian? You know, what if this isn't OCD and I am actually a lesbian? I was panicking, crying, shaking, and furious at myself. Why me? What did I do wrong? Why is this happening? Why is this happening now after I have finally found the guy I want to be with? I was still Googling, trying to find an answer in order to get this all to stop. I cannot tolerate the thoughts of being a lesbian, and I can't be in a relationship without having certainty about these questions and doubts. Right, very interesting. Very interesting. Listen to this. I cannot tolerate, the thoughts of being a lesbian, and I can't be in a relationship without having certainty, about these questions and doubts. She can't tolerate rigid thinking, and she has to be certain, which is one of the building blocks of OCD. Very interesting. After stumbling across Jessie's YouTube page, hey, that's me, I felt more relief. Yes, this is actually HOCD, but the doubts and thoughts didn't stop after this realization. I saw he had set up a Facebook group for HOCD and OCD sufferers, and I'm really glad that I joined. Thank you, Elena. That actually means a lot to me. I've been in touch with the most amazing and supportive people that I've ever talked to, and they've helped me a lot through this process. I can't thank them enough. And that's basically why I created the page. You know, the page isn't about me. It's, yes, I run my mouth off and I come out with statuses and stuff like that. But the page, you know what? I created it, but it's not really mine. It's yours. So, anyway, yes, I'm still suffering from it. And yes, it feels so real that you actually believe it sometimes. That's OCD. That you don't have OCD and are in a sexual identity crisis. So basically, yeah, the OCD makes you doubt yourself so much that you actually believe you're just going through a sexual crisis, which is, nonsense. All the intrusive feelings, thoughts and doubts feel so real that you actually don't know who you are anymore. Loss of identity. OCD also destroys your confidence and can use your insecurities and vulnerabilities against you, resulting in you hating yourself and feeling like a bad person. You know, I've spoken to this lady and You know, she's very nice and all the rest of it. But it amazed me because I put a couple of questions on the Facebook page, and she, you know, has a very negative self-image. But whether she was like that before the HOCD, I'm not quite sure. I think she had a degree of confidence before the OCD, but the OCD basically tore everything down, from what I can gather anyway. Just 1 second, I have to have a break. I get a dwarf under here making me a cocktail. Okay, I'm starting to accept that I may never be the same person again, and that I could be living with these kind of doubts my whole life. I accept that I have OCD and have to live and manage this horrible and traumatic disorder. The more we seek answers and try to figure out our sexuality, the worse it gets. This is an intelligent girl. My advice is to stop arguing with the thoughts. Excellent. Googling and checking. This is really good advice, so I'm going to repeat this, okay? My advice is to stop arguing with the thoughts, Googling and checking. Let the gay feelings be there and accept the thoughts to show OCD that you don't give a fuck and that you live your life the way you want to. You got to admire her. The more you accept it and show OCD that you don't care, it will slowly start to lose its power. And of course, the best plan of action for recovery is to get therapy and watch Jesse's videos. Thank you. At the end, the content doesn't matter. It's OCD trying to ruin the things you love and value the most. I got over health OCD, and I can get over this too. I realize the recovery from this theme will take some time, and that's okay. Yes, experiencing this is painful, and some days are better than others. But instead of suppressing and getting rid of the pain, embrace it and bring it along for the ride. That's an excellent line. Let me just reiterate that. But instead of suppressing and getting rid of the pain, embrace it along for the ride. You know what? This young lady's been through a lot. But what she said at the end was very, you know, it was spot on. See, most people, when they feel pain, they immediately run. Because the way that the brain is hardwired is with pain and pleasure. Human beings want more of the pain and they try to suppress, human beings, okay, want more of the pleasure and they try to suppress the pain. Okay? That's the way the brain is hardwired. But what you suppress eventually resurfaces, and you suppress it again and it eventually resurfaces. What you have to do is take the pain and you have to allow it to be. Just allow it to be without interfering, almost like meditation. And that's what ERP does. It's confronting the fear. It's almost like directional meditation, because you're focusing on the pain of the intrusive thoughts and you're focusing on the intrusive feelings and all the rest of it, and you're just sitting with them and allowing them to be. And as Elena says, you're showing it that you don't give a fuck. And because the thing is about reassurance, like Elena mentioned about Googling and all the rest of it, with reassurance, what you're doing is you're giving the OCD thoughts too much importance. And that's what they live on. That's what they feed on. They feed on your paranoia, your fear, whatever. So, I mean, reassurance is that way. ERP is that way. You need to do as Elena suggested, to embrace the pain, embrace the thoughts, and show OCD that you don't give a fuck, and it will slowly start to diminish. Anyway, that's Elena's story. Thanks guys for tuning in. I've got a Facebook page if anyone's interested in meeting new friends and talking about this stuff and coming to some good conclusions and good answers and a solution. So it's there if you want to join. Anyway guys, take care, thanks for listening and adios.